about a year ago when visiting Orlando for Aquashella. We sat down and had a great conversation about everything that is the reef keeping hobby, and ever since then, I always tag around him. So when he invited me to come tour the new Tidal Gardens facility, I of course said yes, so I jumped on a plane and traveled 6 hours to get to Ohio. I was initially going to dress up in a suit to greet him, but only Than could find those comfortable for more than an hour, so I opted against it last minute. Kind of regret that now because it would have been hilarious, but I was really excited to go tour Tidal Gardens. I saw a lot about Than's facility online from his YouTube videos, but I didn't really know what to expect going in. Seeing something on the internet is always far different than seeing it in person. Something that I appreciate about Than is that he pays meticulous attention to detail and likes a lot of very nice things, so I couldn't wait to see how that would play out in his new facility. Once arriving in Cleveland, I set out to spot Than at the airport.
There for Tidal Gardens!
Then we got in the car and headed to Tidal Gardens. I have to say, I did not have any expectations of what Ohio would be like. It's honestly not a place I thought I'd ever visit, but I do have to say, Ohio is absolutely beautiful. I got really lucky and visited at the absolute perfect time of year. The trees were showing their most gorgeous fall colors. They looked fake, honestly. I mean, coming from Texas, where we only have 2 seasons, summer and winter, I was kind of in awe. Apparently this only really goes on for a week or so, so I'm really glad that I got to see it. Once we arrived at Tidal Gardens, I was a bit taken aback. The new facility is massive, absolutely massive. It's kind of hard to appreciate the sheer size from just video footage alone, but take my word for it, it is a monster. The building is located right next door to the original farm and close enough to Than's place that he can stroll out of bed and walk to work, which is really nice, not even gonna lie. I love how the exterior looks like a barn too. You know, it fits well with the surrounding buildings and doesn't look like a sore thumb. I mean, if the outside is this pretty, I couldn't imagine what would be inside. We entered the facility through these huge doors, super convenient for carting stuff in and out. The doors kind of set the stage for what was to come, honestly, that every single detail, every minutia of this building is extremely well thought out. The second we entered, I was taken aback by the sound of the place. With how large this facility is and with how much equipment and tanks surround you, you'd think it would be somewhat noisy, you know? Y'all, my tank at home is louder than everything in this entire building. I don't know how he managed it, but that son of a gun managed to move that much water and you could still hear a pin drop. And I mean that with no exaggeration. The sheer size of this place makes it that much more crazy. But not only is this place massive, but the layout is extremely functional and well thought out. Not one detail was forgotten in the planning process of this place, y'all. The whole building was very spacious, which makes working on the equipment and tanks super easy. And the tanks were also strategically placed. I mean, the coral grow-out tanks are located in completely separate areas from the for-sale coral tanks, which of course are conveniently placed right next to the shipping and packing section. Also, the tanks were super high quality, this gorgeous thick glass. You know, every tank in there looked like a show tank you'd keep in your home. And of course, the design of the tanks and their placement was super well thought out too. Each tank had closed loops, making the water in the tank rotate quite a bit so you don't need power heads which get in the way. Also, under every closed loop, I mean every closed loop, was a drip pan. So if you ever need to do maintenance, it catches all of the water. I mean, chef's kiss. Each tank was on a sexy 8220 T-slot aluminum stand. You know, aluminum is very resistant to corrosion from salt water, so it was the perfect choice. Also, by using these stands, everything is left open, making maintenance super simple and making it easier to detect any problems that might happen. I mean, Than really did think of absolutely everything. The filtration setup was perfect too. I mean, each system had a super large central filtration sump, and of course, each system had freshwater and saltwater conveniently on tap. The corals too, of course, perfectly organized. Not only were the coral types grouped together in each tank, you know, gonies with gonies, but each individual coral was grouped on its own individual frag rack. So every frag stayed ways together. Genius, huh? One of my absolute favorite parts of his facility, though, was the cable management. Dan actually challenged me to find where the pump was plugged in, and honestly, it took me a minute. All of the wiring is completely hidden from sight, and I mean completely hidden from sight. Cables were tucked away under the stand, and the wiring was all in the ceiling. This makes it so easy to work on the tanks and just gives off this ultra clean look, which pretty much embodies the entire building, honestly. The whole place is aesthetically pleasing. I mean, everything is painted in the same color, all of the same seating, the light fixture wire matching the same support of the shelving, the matching tanks and the matching frag stands and the light hoods, which first of all are so sexy. I want to copy it for my tank. Everything was just so perfect. I mean, honestly, I was in awe. And to top it off, like it wasn't already amazing, the whole place was functional. Little details like these little walkways to step over the perfect plumbing, which by the way, that plumbing is so amazing, it deserves an award in itself. But also, on top of that, everything is labeled. I mean, everything is labeled. Look at how adorable these little kalkwasser buckets are. I mean, and by far, my favorite was the Fish QT Brute trash cans. Come on! This whole place is so type A. I love it. The water treatment and heating system were also pretty impressive. So it turns out that he has a whole water treatment plant, all done from a rainwater collection system. I mean, he literally treats his own rainwater with chlorine and then runs the water through an RDI to treat the water that he already treated. Also, the heating system of the whole place, a centralized conductive heating system where water flows up through the entire building, heats it up, and then distributes warm water throughout the facility. I mean, that's pretty sick. Plus, you could tell the whole place was super well insulated. I mean, it was 40 degrees outside and the AC unit was still on. The building retained all of the heat from the equipment, which is pretty impressive, especially considering how brutal Ohio winters can get. But that's not all. That's not all.
Yeah, so it's a false wall.
Oh, you have a really nice bathroom in here.
I love it how you have a shower.
The nicer one is upstairs.
I could live out there and come in here. This is.
Oh, dude. Wait till you see
our bathroom was.
Oh my gosh.
We're like, yeah, there's a flush. Well, we got lucky.
like all the toilets here are like heated with bidets and everything like that here and inside the house. You have to get used to it.
Yeah. It's the details.
Dan also created a whole studio upstairs full of state-of-the-art photography equipment that I would just die for. A whole ass cloud ceiling, okay, that lights up. And my absolute favorite thing in the world, a full body massage chair. Definitely gave good use to that thing. Upstairs, he had a giant kitchen equipped with a gelato machine and even a little lounge area. Honestly, after touring the whole place, I don't even know what my favorite part is anymore. Dan really hit it with this whole building, I'm telling you. The level of detail in the planning of everything shows. There is not one single thing that this man did not think of. The organization, aesthetic design, the functionality. I mean, bravo, Than, bravo. This whole video is like an ode to Tidal Gardens, but honestly, it deserves all of the credit. And before I knew it, the trip was over and I was headed back to Texas. Then, if you're watching, appreciate you letting me come visit. Everyone should check out his recent farm tour video on his YouTube channel, Tidal Gardens, for a better look at the place, which I will link in the bio. And let me know in the comments what you think the coolest part of the Tidal Gardens facility is, because I honestly can't even pick.